All right. Hey, is we good? Did it start? All right. Hey, everybody. It's Jason Blaha here. Just sitting here drinking my morning coffee, looking sexy as hell as usual. For those of you who say I don't look sexy as hell drinking my coffee, nobody cares what you think. I didn't ask you shit. Did I remember to make this public? Yeah, it's public. All right. So we're good. See what we got going on here. We got a few people in. These tend to wind up pretty quickly in the mornings. Going to be a chest day. It is cold. It's going to snow tomorrow. Not looking forward to that because I have to deadlift. That's a day where if you can stay inside in a place like Houston when it's snow, you do so. Because people don't know how to drive here. Like the accidents are catastrophic. Like people literally have no idea what to do when there's snow or ice. They just 20, 30 pound car pileups happen. I'm on my first cup of coffee. It's cold enough today, though, I might have to leave the garage door closed. I treat people just great, Big Natty. No, I mean, I'm addicted to trolls on the internet. But, you're confusing the internet with reality. You got to be careful about doing that. I'm actually really nice in person. I'm just a dick to you fuckers. Because you deserve it. You're nameless, faceless jackasses who get on the internet and hide and talk shit. In person, I am extremely polite. By the way, to people that I meet out and about. Okay. Everything's a joke to Konevsky. Everything he does is a big joke. I mean, that's how he makes his living. So, we gonna get any real topics in here? You guys just gonna talk shit and be trolls? I mean, I can talk shit and just make fun of your small dicks or something, but I mean, I would rather discuss matters of importance. Talk about some training, some current events, maybe enrich people's lives. But, a lot of you guys are not interested in that. You're just not really interested in doing anything positive. So, I'll give you back what you give to me. I'd rather help people. But, some motherfuckers are always trying to ice skate uphill. What do you do? What do you do? Although, like Jason is a kind man, very handsome, very muscular. Well, more of a perception of people who know me in person, but definitely not on the internet. Why would I have sugar in my coffee, Greener? You do know that I have a very strong stance against refined sugars, right? I heard 7 inches is average. Yeah, that's definitely not true. Definitely not gay. It's Nova Scotian humor. Okay, cool. Well, I don't know much about that region. Hey, Jason, really thought, why would I be at the inauguration? Like, you guys have these ideas that I care a lot about politics. I really don't. Especially probably not for the last 5-6 years of my life. I really just don't care about politics that much. I mean, I vote, I follow things, but I'm not passionate about politics other than maybe gun rights. That's about it. That's probably the only political topic I'm actually passionate about at all. That's pretty much it, dude. Like I don't care that much about politics. I don't care about a lot of the left right bullshit people argue about. It's irrelevant to me. It has no impact on my life in any way. And it really doesn't on most people's lives. Yeah. If Trump deputized, no. Not really. Not my job. What's tonight's topic? I don't know yet, dude. I'm not worried about that. Like right now, I'm worried about um, my training this morning. How do we cut down on sugar? You just don't eat it. It's really simple, Greener. Cut down. Just don't eat it. Don't buy it. Problem solved. Like it isn't that difficult. There's my whole answer. How do we reduce our refined sugar intake? Because I don't use the word sugar. I specify refined sugar. Don't eat it. That's it. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. Listen to the horrible shit that you just wrote about a 4-year-old child. Again, this is the mindset of my haters. Like, look at the sort of stuff that they write. He just wrote that about a 4-year-old child. Yep. You, sir, are a sick fuck. I mean, even if you meant that as a joke, like seriously, think that through. And think through the people who associate with this. So they want to be in the same circles with someone and be on the same side as someone writing that stuff about a 4-year-old child. Let that sink in. You're repeating it. How did you get your diet in check? Well, these past 2 years, mainly just keeping protein really high and fasting, Legend. That's the entirety of it. I don't know that Disney ruined Star Wars, honestly. Yeah, boo. By the way, dude, repeating an evil rumor like that is the same thing as saying it. Actually, even in a courtroom, that counts the same as saying it. So, for example, if were to make a slanderous statement and I get up and repeat their slanderous statement on my thing, technically they could, in theory, include me in the lawsuit. Just FYI. I learned all this during my previous lawsuits. Yeah, peppermint, exactly. Just come alive and see that filth. And that is the mindset of the people who hate me. They're all like that. It's really insane. Thoughts on Mark Ripito? I mean, you're going to have to be specific. Decent novice training advice, horrific diet advice. He is an alcoholic, though, and he needs to get his drinking under control. NH is spreading such gossip. Apparently doesn't like that Jason's talking about him. Exactly. Okay. You should treat your viewers good. Well, not if they're trolls. If they're normal, good viewers, yes. But if they're here as a troll, I'm gonna be a dick. So, Legend. Texas laws only apply in the state of Texas. Do you have evidence that the noble natties live in Austin? You see the problem with your statement? That's not how defamation suits work. You have to sue the person where they live under their local laws. So if Natural Hypertrophy lives in Algeria, I have to sue him through the Algerian courts under our Algerian defamation laws. All right. Hey, Coach, have you ever used Hinge and do you recommend it? I don't know exactly what you mean by Hinge. Vegeta says, just so you're aware, I've never made that claim about you. All right, cool. Hinge versus Tinder versus Bumble. I don't know the difference between those. The only one of those I think I've heard of is Tinder, and I've never actually seen Tinder. Is starting strength a good program for someone getting back to the gym after a 6-year break? No, because you've already gone through your novice phase. You don't need a true novice program again. Coach goes outside. He doesn't need dating apps. I think some things are off limits. Vegeta, I would agree. Like there has to be. We have to have limits when we're hating on people. There are limits I won't cross, even when I'm trolling people and other influencers. It's fair, but it's also important we look big and close. You guys want to see what I look like in close standing up, so there's no, hey, you got filters or whatever bullshit. Hold on, let me step up. This is what I look like in a t-shirt, by the way. All right. So NH is ignore most bore. Coach goes outside. Who has borderline? Hey, fake. You know you can't diagnose internet personas with their stuff. I, by the way, know what my full psychiatric diagnosis is. You guys are not even close. Like none of you guys have ever gotten it even close. Like I do have like diagnosis on paper, like with medical records. None of you guys have gotten it even close. All right, ever. I've always focused on barbell bench. Should I focus on dumbbells? If you do both, why don't you do some incline? Do some incline. If you want to add a second press on incline, is always a good start. Like you can't go wrong with the incline bench. Okay. Now I'm not going to play guitar this morning. What's the best program to regain strength after I've lost? Just get in and do a good basic barbell program, but do some curl. I'm going to tell you right now, don't skip your curls early in training just to chase barbell stuff. You're going to be like me and then have to play lagging biceps. It's not worth it. Do some curls. Like even if you do strong lifts or one of these novice programs, make sure you do some curls. Vegeta says, for the record, Jason's ex-wife did collaborate the childhood. Yeah, she was very aware of it, and she knew that my family was aware of it. I don't know what she said, and I don't really care because we made peace before she died. But I'm not going to go back and look at whatever she said. But yeah, if she didn't admit that, then that's a problem because she was very, very, very aware of it and had spoke to my mother and everything about it. So, no, actually don't have OCD. I mean, okay, joking aside, what have been my psychiatric diagnosis that I have like on paper? I have been diagnosed with severe chronic reoccurring depression. Like that's my number one. And then I have actually have PTSD. And that is from the childhood thing. Like that is actually diagnosed on paper. So not from being a fake veteran or any of that bullshit or fake merc. We know I wasn't really a mercenary, right? We've admitted this a million years ago. But the childhood thing, yeah, I do have an actual PTSD diagnosis from that. It is an official diagnosis. So yeah, I mean, so like Vegeta said, even my first wife probably collaborated that. Like that's not fake. And yeah, it obviously has affected me my entire life in a very, very negative way. And I've done my best to overcome it. And that's all we can do. That's all any of us can do. That's why I tell people get under a barbell. Because if you've been through that sort of stuff and you don't do something about it, you're not going to make it. Unless you get in and work on healing those scars. That's the reason it's so horrible. Like that's the reason people hate the people who do that because of the damage it causes is for life. Like that's lifetime damage to someone that someone's inflicting. You don't ever really fully come back from that. All right. Booge, okay, I will answer that question. That is one of the reasons I got therapy immediately because I read those same statistics. And no, I never had an urge to do that ever. And I got therapy to make sure that I wouldn't. Like that was actually something that scared the shit out of me. When I read the thing that you wrote, right? When I read that thing, that prompted me to get therapy further. Because to me, that idea disgusted me. And I basically made a promise to myself back then that if I ever had that sort of urge, that I would off myself. Like immediately, probably wouldn't even leave a note. And then I went and got therapy, further therapy for that. Because that exactly what you wrote. And no, I never did. The fact that I'm here alive, I never got any sort of urge like that. But I would have absolutely, if I had. And I would have marked that as a win, dude, because a dead pedophile is a dead fucking pedophile. It counts. Right? Take up the body count. All right. Can you do a video on gear usage? I've done tons of videos on gear stuff. Any of your programs you can recommend for a returning lifter starting from scratch? Yeah, you can do my Ice Cream Fitness for about a month, and then you need to go into a more advanced program. No, I've never been skydiving. Coach, you've been through some stuff, man. People don't even realize. No, they don't have a clue, and that's why they don't seem to realize they're never going to break me. Like, I'm sorry, but the things I've been through in my life, these clowns on the internet do not have the ability to break me. Vegeta, what do you mean? That's what I've been doing, and I feel like I've been doing too much arm volume at this point. So it's kind of like you're asking me, why don't you do what you've been doing all this time? I think I've been doing too much. I need to cut down to about 15 sets of curls a week personally. And I think that's going to be what I'm going to do. Any more? No, I don't think women with blue hair are a red flag. 15 sets is plenty. 15 sets is considered high volume. There's no one disagrees on that. All right. I mean, again, we're talking biceps. We're not counting any of the rows or any of that stuff. All right. We're talking biceps. No, I got therapy to get help in general because that is one of the potential side effects. Like, he is right. And I think the statistic I saw was 30%. That 30% of people who are abused who don't get therapy for it become one of those monsters. And that's an unacceptable risk. Another reason I urge everyone to go get therapy. And I don't want to use that line that you just said, because that would suggest that it was going to happen, and it's not a possibility for me. Because I don't want to answer and say that and have people remix that as something sick and fucked up. Why did NH make a claim? Because he's a lying piece of shit. Like, NH is a pathological liar. Like, whatever you think about me, like, you can say the same thing about me if you want. You can believe I have lied about 157 million things. That doesn't make him not a pathological liar. So to answer your question, he is, based upon the stuff I've seen, that he just made up lie after lie after lie after lie about me for 25 hours. He is a pathological liar. That says nothing about me personally. Keep that in mind. You can think that I am the most evil, lying person on the face of the earth, and it doesn't change that. I've seen people suggest other stuff as far as his love life contradictions. Like, he had made videos apparently claiming to be this player who got a bunch of girls, and then he says he's only been with his wife as the only woman he's ever had sex with. I mean, that's sort of contradiction. But I mean, you could go down the stuff and look at it. But I mean, that's a perfect example. Like, people were linking me this stuff. I mean, I'm just saying, I wouldn't take a whole lot of women advice from a guy who then says, I've only had sex with one woman my entire life. Hey, Vegeta, would you take his advice? All right. Is it possible to build muscle on a cut? Yes. Confirmed in the lab. What's the update on the Palazzo? What do you mean an update? Why are you asking about that? Why don't you go contact the police if you're that concerned? I mean, it was kind of public. Everybody knew about it. Are panic attacks part of PTSD? Yes, absolutely. But yeah, I had put up the police incident cards. That really happened. The bomb squad literally had to come out to my apartments. It was shut the street down. It was so fucking stupid. And I mean, that's again the stupidity of these stalkers, man. Like they terrorized a whole building because they hate me. I mean, think about that for a moment. This is the side you guys are on. That is your buddies. Like, hate me. Okay, fine. You can think again. You can think I am literally the worst evil person on the face of the earth. That Satan had butt sex with Adolf Hitler and I popped out. Okay, whatever, dude. You can think that's the case, but that doesn't give you a right to terrorize my neighbors. Doesn't give you a right to have a bomb squad close my whole fucking street down and have 200 people be in absolute terror. You see what I mean, guys? That's the side you're on. That's your bros. That's the side natural hypertrophy is on. So again, you got to choose your fights, guys. It's very clear who the bad guys are. But he supports the people because it's all the same group of people, Vegeta. Like, I don't differentiate. Like, okay, look at it from my perspective. I have a circle of trolls and stalkers who obsess over me because 3 of them were involved in their circle with doing shit like that, and the others don't abandon the circle and they all stay part of it. What's the difference? It's the same people. I don't differentiate between that. I think it's the entire circle supports it. They get in their little groups and they do this stuff and coordinate it. And I know for a fact he's been in those circles. I had someone who got in and was a mole for a little bit. Yeah, he is literally part of it. So as far as I'm concerned, he's a fucking terrorist. Period. So yeah, that's another reason I'm going to go in hard on him because I know he was part of all that stuff. He might not have been the year that happened, but he joined the same group and he knows they did that shit. Right? I don't know, Vegeta, you were a veteran. How do you deal with that in war? The people who collaborate with the terrorists? Are they the good guys? Like, well, they didn't technically kill the people. They just supported them. They maybe financed them. They were part of their circles and hung out with them, knowing that they were going to do it or that they had done it. I don't know, man. How do you treat that? Are they the good guys? Is that how it works? Is that a gray area for you? All right. Didn't Alpha Destiny support? Yes, he did. CM, what causes one man to make 30 hours worth of videos and another man? Yeah. James, opinion on calcium forms. Would you rather take 100 milligrams daily or 500 at once? Of what? He's in those circles, Vegeta. He hangs and associates with the people who did it and talks to them in groups. It's association, man. Sippian once a week, dude. Test sip is perfectly stable once a week. Hey, Amor. Why are you typing silly shit like that? All right. Stoics coach is 6'4" wingspan at 5'11" height. A reason to bench to stall. Well, it's going to make it harder. I think I hurt my Achilles tendon doing low calf machine calf raises. You might have. Yeah. I mean, Vegeta, you're entitled to your view, but how do you so then view it? Try to view things from other people's perspective. What do you think my perspective is on that? As the person who had to deal with all that shit and watched what they did and saw it all firsthand, and then he associates in those same circles. How would you view it if you were me? I've obviously heard of Tony Huge. I'm not really a fan. So put yourself in that situation, Vegeta. Let's say you were targeted for some shit like that because of some videos you made. People got really, really, really upset. All right. They got really upset with you because some videos you made trash talking some people are doing something, right? And then that happened. And then a YouTuber comes out who is then literally part of those same circles, who is friends with the people who did it, associates with them, thinks it's funny, and then comes up and makes 25 hours shit talking you and telling lies. And he's still friends with and part of the circle that perpetrated that terrorist type act. How would you personally view him? Would you view him as different than those people, or would you say he's just part of their little stalking terrorist network? All right. You answer a lot of questions. Curious if you have any questions for other coaches, and what would you possibly ask? I talk to other coaches all the time. Would you ever consider No, I don't want to go volunteer at Big Brothers. Yeah, that's exactly what I need is my trolls to then jump up with some shit like that. Oh, Blaha trying to get around being Big Brothers. I mean, like that wouldn't be like they wouldn't be contacting it nonstop trying to scream crazy shit. Think that one through for a moment, dude. Yeah. I mean, CSG, you can look at the YouTube alone and determine that that is a fact. You don't need to ask me that question. All the evidence is literally on YouTube on other channels. French people, he's not French though. All right. Yeah, I don't think that would be a wise decision. Exactly. I mean, some people don't think these things through. They need to have some common sense. And it's really messed up because I am literally one of the most outspoken people that could possibly exist against pedophilia. Like, I literally support the death penalty for it. I have even said before, I would be more than happy to be the executioner and I would sleep just fine at night. Well, CSGO, after a decade straight, what do you define it as? Amor, I never said such a thing. Amor, did you not hear the story and not later hear me explain the whole thing? Is my name Wilton? Am I old enough to have been in Vietnam? So why would you associate that with me? You do realize I was born after the Vietnam War ended, right? So are you suggesting I built a time machine? Because I never actually said I did that. So you're a fucking weirdo. You clearly didn't see the original video. And in my defense, I later realized I was an impressionable young man listening to a veteran tell me a tall tale when I was 18, 19 years old. And I later, I think at some point in a Q&A, repeated it like 12 years ago that this guy had told me this story. And in retrospect, now that I thought it through later and realized years later, damn, he was yanking my chain. Do you regret sharing all this stuff, the stuff about my childhood? No, I don't regret sharing that because I will never, ever live in silence or shame over that. Ever. Ever. No, I don't regret the stories about my uncle because, again, I will never live in silence or shame over that. No one will ever shame me into being silent with that. And I think it sets, Wilton wasn't a, what are you talking about? What do you mean uncle? He wasn't a relative of mine. I wasn't related to Wilton. He was an old Vietnam veteran I knew. Well, yeah, I regret sharing. What do you mean? It was one story. Yeah. What do you mean? It was one story. Well, yeah, I mean, I regret it because people spun it into something that I didn't even say. I mean, obviously, they've clearly remixed it somewhere because I remember the story as he told it, and I remember what I said in the video. And I very clearly said, Wilton told me this. Yeah, I mean, people made a really big deal out of that, which was really strange. It's like, so a veteran told me a tall tale war story that I repeated later, not realizing I was an impressionable young man having my chain yanked a little bit. You know, why you guys do that, Vegeta? Not saying you personally. I know a lot of vets don't do that. I mean, here's the thing. Pepper, a lot of them do, and a lot of them don't. I've known veterans who did some hardcore shit who will not tell a single fucking story at all. They don't talk. They don't talk. They won't even talk about it. Like I've met some who you find out when you ask them, they're like, I don't even talk about having been a veteran at all. Yeah. I don't know who Vegeta is. No, it's this guy, right? That's, to my knowledge, that's the only Vegeta I know of is this guy's channel. I've never even heard the name before, other than him. I thought that was maybe his real name or his nickname. Ocean, what are you talking about? I literally told the story as Wilton. Do you not understand that? You're a fucking dumbass, dude. Jesus Christ, you're fucking stupid. I'm drinking normal black coffee, dude. I'm about to wind this down, though. Immense gratitude for doing the video about why one doesn't need to bulk like starting strength programs recommends. Yeah, just lean bulk slowly, guys. Hey, longer. It took me 20 years. No, I'm not going to tell the stupid ass copper top story. It wasn't even my idea. And I'm trying to not, I've agreed to not talk about a certain person much. I've had an agreement. So I'm just going to not discuss her. It's just, I don't want to hash all that shit back out. You know, and at the end of the day, I didn't write the story. It wasn't my idea. So I just don't fucking care. Vegeta, I'm not going to answer that because I gave a promise that I wouldn't talk about a certain person anymore. You know, for the sake of my circle of friends and keeping everybody amicable. And that's, again, I'm going to keep my word. So, all right, guys, we're 35 minutes in. I got to get ready to start training. I'm going to do some bench pressing, some chest and some triceps. Um, love all you guys and gals, and I will talk to you next time.